Hey, I just got a new poll in, which is great, from the Heartland Institute. It's going to come out tomorrow afternoon. The results are pretty terrifying. The poll was done by Rasmussen to see how Americans, how they feel about the Supreme Court. Yeah. So here's what we have. Majority of Democrat likely voters, not just registered Democrats, but likely voters, believe the Supreme Court is fundamentally racist, 56%, and fundamentally sexist, 67%. That's not good. That's not good. Further, 53% of Democrat likely voters want to abolish the current Supreme Court and establish a new democratically elected Supreme Court with justices chosen by the American people directly. Can you even imagine what a nightmare scenario that is? 39% of Democrats would strongly or somewhat favor a constitutional amendment that would give the United Nations the authority to reverse U.S. Supreme Court decisions that UN members believe violate human rights. I mean, who are the Democrats? Who are they? I really? I mean, I've met this many dumb people, but that would mean that all of the dumb people in America are Democrat, and I don't believe that. But I'm beginning to. I mean, 53%, 56% say it's fundamentally racist. 67% of Democrats say fundamentally sexist. But 53% of those who are likely to vote say they want to abolish the Supreme Court and hold elections for the... I mean, why don't we just do America's Got Talent? We'll just America's Got Judges.
I mean, look, that idea worked really well with the Senate. Look how great our Senate is doing now. Now that we we elect them directly, it's really improved that process quite a bit. You know, I mean, you can kind of like understand, okay, the fundamentally racist thing. Well, I mean, Democrats think literally everything is racist. So, okay, maybe fundamentally sexist. I mean, you know, maybe they just went through the Roe versus Wade thing. A lot of the Democrats are angry about that. Okay,
I can cut you some slack on that.
Yeah,
maybe.
But like, no one's even proposing that the UN takes over vetoing our Supreme Court decisions, and still a giant chunk of Democrats believe that that's the way we should go. That is remarkable.
So 39% of Democrats would strongly favor a constitutional amendment that give the United Nations the authority to reverse U.S. Supreme Court decisions that UN members believe violate. That's 39%. Here's the crazy part. 48% of all voters aged 18 to 39 favored giving the United Nations the power to overturn the U.S. Supreme Court cases. So you want to give up our sovereignty to that group of people? Can you tell me what that group of people have done? One good thing. Honestly, one good thing. Audrey Hepburn was a ambassador for them, and I loved her. She was great. That's it. That's as far as I can go.
It's okay. It really is amazing. Why would you want to do that of all things? I guess at this point they just want to overturn everything because they see the Constitution being upheld, and that's the problem here. Is that again, the Supreme Court did not take away a right. They said the right didn't exist the whole time, which is true. And they took the power away from themselves. The Supreme Court initially created this right out of thin air, which is their argument, by the way. Not my argument. Their argument is they acknowledge it wasn't around during the time of the 14th Amendment because almost everybody had banned abortion at the time of the 14th Amendment. So they can't argue it was the initial intent. They just said later on they believe that with updating standards, it's a living document, and now that power of the 14th Amendment includes abortion. They, the Supreme Court, a bunch of men, created the right, and then a later Supreme Court said, yeah, you can't just create rights like that. That's not what you do. So they took the power out of their own hands. And people are still incredibly angry at them. It really is utterly amazing.
I don't think people understand the second part of that. They took it out of their hands because they said it's not a right in the Constitution. It's not like they said, no, that's not a right. They said that's not a right that the federal government has purview over.
Yep.
The federal government has certain things that they have, all the Bill of Rights, all those. That's what the federal government cannot do, okay? They can't violate any of those. Well, they're violating all of those right now. Nobody seems to care. But it's what the government cannot do. Any other right not listed there goes to the people and to the state. So you might have the right. I haven't heard a good case on it. You might have the right to abortion. But that's for the people and the state to decide, not the federal government.
And some state constitutions allow for that right. I mean, again, I think that's morally reprehensible, but that is in several state constitutions, and you can get those abortions there for the time being, at least. But, the whole point of this, and this is in several of these, it was also in the EPA case and several others of this session, it was a theme. We are not the ones that are supposed to make these decisions. If you guys want to do these things, pass laws. Start passing laws if you want these things to be done. Go within the constitutional bounds of your power and pass laws. Stop acting like we're going to do all this stuff for you. That's not our job. That's them saying, hey, we aren't going to take the power. We are actually going to cede the power, which for some reason the left wants us to have. We're going to cede it back to the legislators where it belongs. That is what they've been doing over and over again. That's how this is supposed to work.
So what's crazy, let me do one more thing here on abortion. If you look at the numbers, more than 1 in 3, 37%, said their state should allow abortion only in cases of rape and incest. 37%. Another 12% favored allowing abortion only in the first 6 weeks of pregnancy. And that's when you can detect a baby's heartbeat.
You said,
okay,
what was that last
those
one?
Two,
yeah, it was 16%, you said?
12.
12. So we're up at half, basically, now.
So, yeah, we're at 49% of the country that would say 6 weeks, that's it.
6 weeks or less.
Half of the country, yeah. Okay. Another 23% would support a ban at 15%, meaning 72% of the country agrees with what Mississippi brought in front of the Supreme Court, because they said they wanted a 15-week ban on abortions. Women are more pro-life than men, and I think that's absolutely explainable. It's a woman's body. You don't have a right to say anything. I completely disagree with that, but how many guys are, A, keep the options open,
yeah,
and B, been just bullied into not having an opinion?
I think that's true. I think look, think of this stereotypical situation that you'd think of in these cases. Guy goes out, hooks up with a girl he finds at a bar. They go back to the house. They do their thing. She's pregnant, and he's the one that's like, oh, I don't even want to talk to her again, let alone raise a child with her. So please, yeah, abortion, it's great. Women's rights, yeah, please. Oh my gosh, women's right to choose. It's so important to me. What a fundamental right this is. They just want to get out of what they've done, right? They want to avoid the responsibility. So stereotypically, you'd assume that the guys would be the ones pushing for this. By the way, I might remind you, it was 7 guys who brought the right to you. So, for all the thoughts that men shouldn't have an opinion here, the only person involved in a major abortion case that actually decided it, that was a woman, really was Amy Coney Barrett. I mean, I guess in Casey you could make the argument, but still, I mean, Amy Coney Barrett's the one who was involved here. She's a woman. There were no women involved in the Roe versus Wade decision at the Supreme Court level.
Here's the most telling part of the poll. Majority, 55%, said they opposed overturning Roe versus Wade, even though 72% would support a law that Roe would have struck down. What's more, 25%, only 25%, agreed that the Supreme Court, as opposed to state or federal lawmakers, should set the standards on abortion. So,
amazing.
Wait, 72% support the law that it just overturned, that it just made possible by overturning it. And only 25% say the decision should be in the hands of the Supreme Court, which is what the Supreme Court said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so basically what that tells you is that people just don't know what Roe versus Wade means. They think Roe versus Wade means if you overturn it, abortion goes away completely. They, of course, will learn very soon that that's not the case because 72% support the Mississippi law and, 25% want the Supreme Court to make these rules. Well, that's what Roe versus Wade was. So you can't support Roe versus Wade and oppose the Supreme Court coming up with the rules. Their whole argument in Roe versus Wade was, you guys are really kind of at odds here. Why don't we come in and say, we'll just make up a standard and that will solve the problem. And then Casey came along and they said, hey, that Roe versus Wade thing sure didn't solve the problem. We're going to give you a new standard, a new idea. Now it's going to be viability, and that'll solve it for you guys. And it didn't solve it at all. And then this Supreme Court said, hey, maybe we shouldn't be giving you the standards. Maybe you guys should solve this on your own through the normal process instead of us trying to come up with some universal solution for everybody. And that's what everyone seems to want in the poll, but they have absolutely no idea what Roe versus Wade is other than people who oppose it are evil.
Yeah, and the people who are for it apparently love children and women, even though now the New York has gone crazy, absolutely crazy. Not only their new gun concealed carry permit, what do you call it? I don't even know, bureaucracy. It's worse than it was. It's worse than it was now. And there's no way this stands up in court. No way this stands up in court. And New York also said that they need to crack down on the pregnancy centers that are offering life because they say they are offering disinformation by saying that it's a baby already inside of you. And the other disinformation is you're already a mother. You're carrying your child right now, so you already are a mother. Those are the two pieces of misinformation or disinformation they say that they have to crack down on. So they are now cracking down. It doesn't matter. New York, you can have all the abortions you want. Celebrate all the abortions. We'll send you cakes. Just all the abortions you want. That's not good enough. They have to stop those 20% that go to these pregnancy centers and have their minds changed. Interesting times we live in. You will be forced to participate.